What's up, world? I'm Cameron McKinney, and this is Pop Culture Spotlight, a podcast about the movie A House of Dynamite. Here's a quick synopsis. A group of U.S. government officials and employees come together to decide how to react to what they believe to be a potential nuclear attack. The film stars Rebecca Ferguson, Idris Elba, Tracy Letts, Anthony Ramos, Jared Harris, Gabriel Basso, Moses Ingram, and Jason Clarke. Standout performances. Rebecca Ferguson has become best known for her work in franchise fare, the Mission Impossible films, and Dune and Dune Part 2. She fits in those movies in a way that most actors don't. She's able to give great performances in them while not being overshadowed by the spectacle. And her involvement in A House of Dynamite is what got me interested in the movie in the first place, because she hasn't been in many prestige movies or just straight up dramas. In the film, Ferguson plays Captain Olivia Walker, who is a key part of the White House's Situation Room. She's trying to keep her cool and stay professional while worrying about her husband and baby. This movie is an ensemble, and I would argue it would have been better if it had one leading character, and in my opinion, it should have been Ferguson, and I mainly feel that way because it's more than time to give her a central leading role. I feel like movies treat her as a scene stealer. In this movie, she leaves you wanting more because of how good she is as an actress. Ferguson's upcoming slate of films include Mercy with Chris Pratt, Dune Part 3, Magic Faraway Tree with Andrew Garfield and Claire Foy, and Peaky Blinders, The Immortal Man, and I can't wait to see her in a movie with Cillian Murphy. That is definitely something to look forward to. Idris Elba, likewise, has been in major franchises: Star Trek, Marvel and DC, Fast and Furious, and the Sonic the Hedgehog movies, but he also mixes in more dramatic fare: American Gangster, Molly's Game, The Harder They Fall, and 3,000 Years of Longing. In A House of Dynamite, he's tasked with playing the President of the United States, who's kind of looking for others to guide him to deal with a nuclear attack. It feels like the movie is commenting on the idea of the modern president being a better public presence than a private leader, that this president is shocked he's living in this reality. Again, there's a version of this movie where Idris Elba is the main character and you see the entire movie through his eyes, but that's not the movie we're given. I think Idris Elba is really good in this movie, but could have been better if he were the lead. It's the exact same situation Rebecca Ferguson was in. They are good in this movie, but they are not given a whole lot to do. Idris Elba will next star in Zootopia 2, Masters of the Universe with Nicholas Galestine, Children of Blood and Bone from director Gina Prince Bythewood, and Above the Below. And finally, Tracy Letts has given great performances in popular movies: The Big Short, Lady Bird, Ford v Ferrari, and in lesser seen films Christine, Indignation, and The Lovers. In House of Dynamite, he plays General Anthony Brody, and it's weird to call him the comedic relief of the movie, but he is in a way. He's a large personality who, even with the incoming danger, is fixated on the New York Mets. Letts will next appear in the movies Rosebush Pruning with Riley Keough, Callum Turner, and Elle Fanning, and I Am Rocky from director Peter Farrelly. The hype surrounding this film, A House of Dynamite, came from the fact that this is the first film in nearly a decade from Kathryn Bigelow, best known for directing Point Break, The Hurt Locker, which won Best Picture, for which she won Best Director, and Zero Dark 30. Her last film, Detroit, had, let's call, a mixed reaction, and the same is happening with this film. Where I land is it's not her best movie, but it's well made, and you feel the tension when necessary. The extreme reactions to this movie come from two things. One, the structure of the plot. The audience is basically being seen the same moments from the perspective of different characters. And like I said earlier, the fix for that would have been to choose one leading character. The Hurt Locker is a movie that worked because it had a movie star in Jeremy Renner. And the same goes for Zero Dark 30. It had Jessica Chastain leading the way. That is what a House of Dynamite needed. It needed her to pick either Rebecca Ferguson or Idris Elba to be the main character. The other main issue critics have had is the ending, which I won't spoil. It's been called uncinematic, in the eyes of many, incomplete. Basically, the movie doesn't give you answers about nuclear warfare, and I would argue that's the point. I'm not as bothered by the ending as most people are. I get what the movie is doing. Is it super effective? No, but I get it. My argument against the movie would be that it's not making a grand statement about its subject matter, and it's not being the most entertaining movie it could be. What Kathryn Bigelow is going for with this movie is clearly for it to feel as real as possible. I mean, if she wanted to make a real popcorn movie about this subject, she would have hired Aaron Sorkin to write the script. That's how you get the most entertaining version of this movie. Now, would I want to see that version of this film? Absolutely. I'm not dissing the version that we got. I just don't think it's a super entertaining film. But there lies the problem. If you're not going to be the most entertaining film, and if you're not going to make a grand statement that's going to have me thinking about what the movie is saying, then where does that leave you as a film? It doesn't feel like a major event. That's the problem for a House of Dynamite. It was treated as a major movie because of Kathryn Bigelow and her past of making movies feel like events. There are very good performances in this movie, but none of them are great, and it's because of the movie they are in. This is a movie that is clearly not interested in those performances. It's interested in the subject, but what it's telling you about the subject of nuclear attacks isn't all that interesting and profound. I'm different in the other people that are critiquing this movie because yes, I can see this movie flaws and all, but I can also see what the movie was going for. For instance, the scenes where the government officials are on a Zoom call is not super theatrical. It's not that good to watch on Netflix, but the movie is trying to give you a truthful depiction of what that kind of meeting would be like in modern times. That modern technology has made these meetings and these situations more chaotic than ever. They are depicting these powerful leaders making these choices in separate rooms, thinking about other things. And that gets me to this, what I believe this movie is truly about, that the people in charge of American society are still individuals, and that it's impossible for anyone to look beyond themselves in these extreme situations. Even the characters with the best intentions in this movie are thinking about themselves over the greater good. And I don't think the movie is judging these characters. It's just showing that they are human beings and that there really is no sound protocol in these scenarios. And if I'm right, and if that's the case of what this movie truly is about, then it's also like, yes, we already knew that. We already knew that the President of the United States is a human being, and that the people that work in government are also individuals who think about themselves as well. What I'm getting at is it doesn't feel like the movie is saying anything new about the subject matter of nuclear warfare that is all that interesting, to me anyway. A House of Dynamite feels like a movie that should have just been all about the characters themselves instead of the ideas, because it truly is trying to be an ideas movie, but the ideas aren't that explored, and like I said, neither are the characters. I would have personally chosen to explore the characters more than the ideas. Make Rebecca Ferguson the main character, or make Idris Elba the main character, and you might have ended up with a great movie. Instead, you end up with a movie that a lot of people are unhappy with, and even its greatest supporters are saying is just an okay movie. And that's where I land. It's an okay movie that wastes a really good cast. Like, it could have been so much more given the amount of talent on screen. When a hype around a movie revolves around solely the fact of who the director is, you really don't know what you're getting from the movie. I mean, that's what the selling point to this was. It's a movie from Kathryn Bigelow starring Rebecca Ferguson and Idris Elba. So that's why it was treated like a big deal. And we can be honest for a second about who was treating it like a big deal. Movie critics. The average moviegoer did not care all that much about this movie, A House of Dynamite. I mean, again, there hasn't been a Kathryn Bigelow movie in nearly a decade. So while I don't think this was the triumphant return of Bigelow that many were expecting, I still believe this movie to be a solid effort. It is a well-made movie. It is entertaining, though not as much as I want it to be, and it has very good performances. Oscar chances. The weeks and months before it was released, A House of Dynamite was viewed as a major Oscar contending film for Best Picture and Best Director because of Kathryn Bigelow. But with the overall reactions being all over the place, I don't love the film's chances, but I can't completely rule it out because it's Kathryn Bigelow, and at the end of the day, they do nominate 10 movies, and there's a real question right now as to what Netflix movie is going to get in Best Picture between A House of Dynamite, Frankenstein, and J. Kelly. Because the danger is that you buy into the overall consensus you see online that the ending makes it so that this movie doesn't work. I don't know if that's how most people feel about the movie A House of Dynamite, and I don't know how Oscar voters are going to feel about this movie. I 100% don't think any of the performances in this movie are going to get an Oscar nomination, nor should they. But could I see a world where Kathryn Bigelow gets her third Best Director nomination for this film? Absolutely, and I could also see it getting a Best Picture nomination. And a large part of that has to do with the fact that we are running out of sure things that are going to get nominated for Best Picture. Yes, we all know that One Battle After Another is going to get nominated. I believe that Sinners is going to get nominated. After that, there's just a ton of question marks because so many movies we thought were contenders are no longer viewed as such. I'm talking about the Deliver Me From Nowheres, the Smashing Machines, movies that don't feel culturally relevant yet still have a chance of getting a Best Picture nomination because of the lack of movies that are a sure thing. I don't feel great about A House of Dynamite's chances to get nominated or Kathryn Bigelow's chances to get nominated, but to act like it has no chance is insane because it clearly has a chance because of the year we're in 2025. Do I think there are 10 better movies that deserve to get a Best Picture nomination over it? Absolutely. Do I think that the Oscars agree with me? I don't know, and it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. Even if it does get there and gets those nominations, I think it's fair to say that this is a film that did not meet its expectations. People were really high on this movie for the things I was talking about. It's Kathryn Bigelow. She's working with Rebecca Ferguson. She's making a movie about a fascinating subject. The fact that she had been gone for so long, I mean, because she picked this movie, we all thought, oh man, it has to be great because she's finally going to make a movie. In the past, we are talking about a director who knew what to do with movie stars. Keanu Reeves and the late great Patrick Swayze in Point Break. Then you had Jeremy Renner in Hurt Locker and Jessica Chastain in Zero Dark 30. Now it feels like she isn't as interested in a leading character, in a movie star type performance. That's the real feeling I got watching A House of Dynamite, that this isn't a movie interested in the performances, in the characters themselves. It's more interested in the archetypes and the ideas that it's trying to convey. And I'm not going to lie, those are not my favorite kinds of movies. My favorite kinds of movies are the ones sold by great performances and movie stars. That's just the easiest way you get somebody to buy into the emotions of your movie. You get a Harrison Ford type to sell your movie, to get people to feel empathy for the characters. And yes, I find it kind of baffling for somebody who's done that well in the past to do something different and to take a different stance with the movie, because I do believe that A House of Dynamite really could have worked if she had one sole character be the eyes of the audience. It's almost like once you're starting to really connect with a performance from Ferguson, Elba, or Letts, the perspective changes and the movie loses momentum. People can make fun of A House of Dynamite's ending all they want, and maybe it deserves to be mocked and ridiculed, but I really believe that if the movie had one central leading star performance at the center of it, that ending could have worked, and you would have forgiven it because you would have gone, wow, maybe I don't agree with this movie's ending, but that performance was great, and that's what I'm going to remember. The problem with A House of Dynamite is the thing that's going to be remembered is the ending or the lack thereof. The ending is the thing the movie needs to nail if it's not going to have that one great performance, and in the eyes of most, it did not nail that. That's why so many people are not on board with The House of Dynamite. And when the ending doesn't work, you go back and you think about the structure of the movie as a whole, and you begin to question every single thing about it. Not to repeat myself over and over again, but I don't think that happens if there's a great Rebecca Ferguson performance in this movie. Great performances make audiences overlook the flaws of films. There are so many movies I have problems with the structures of them, but I forgive them because I love the great performances. This is an interesting case study in what you want in a movie. Personally, this is not what I want from a movie. I think this movie is interesting. I agree with some of the things this movie is trying to say, and I even understand what the movie is attempting to do. I just think it's a good movie that had a great movie in it, but it's not the movie that Bigelow was interested in making. I do want to see how she reacts to this movie. Does Bigelow continue to make movies like this, or does she go back to making movies with a movie star at the center of them? That's what I'm rooting for. Make a movie with Keanu Reeves. Make another movie with Jeremy Renner. Make a movie with Rebecca Ferguson as the lead. Make a movie again with Jessica Chastain. Make a movie with a lead. Or make an ensemble piece where you don't forget about some of the characters in it. Who knows what this movie's reputation is going to be like in 5 years? Maybe it's going to get those Oscar noms, or maybe it will always be viewed as the movie with a flawed ending. Either way, how I feel about it is this: it is a mid Kathryn Bigelow movie. It's not her best, it's not her worst. It is a movie that I wanted more from. I also don't think I'm as disappointed as many people because I'm not that big of a fan of Bigelow's. I've enjoyed her movies. There are some I like more than others, but I don't see this as one of the bigger disappointments of 2025 because my expectations were not sky high. Yes, I wanted this to be a more entertaining film after seeing it, but I didn't go into it thinking I'm about to watch one of the best movies of the year. Right now, this is a movie where the detractors are a lot louder than the supporters of it, and that to me is a bit surprising. This is a situation where it's okay to say a movie movie is just okay. It's not either great or bad. There are movies that are just okay, and A House of Dynamite is just okay. It could have been great, but it doesn't get there. And almost everyone is in agreement about what's the problem with the movie. No one is in agreement about what's good about it. And that right there is a big problem. Thanks for listening to this edition of Pop Culture Spotlight. I'm Cameron McKinney, and there'll be a new episode of the podcast every Thursday on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I recommend you check out the movie A House of Dynamite. Next week on the podcast, I'm talking about the film The History of Sound, starring Paul Mescal and Josh O'Connor. So tune in to that, and please rate, review, and subscribe.